Welcome along to Silverstone for rounds 9 and 10 of the 2017 F3 Cup. Beautiful weather here. Let's catch up with the two drivers that will start on the front row of the grid, Shane Kelly and Wade Eastwood.
Quality was close, but we know we had some better sectors on the data. So I think overall we're probably a little bit quicker, which we can try and use in the race. So it really is it's about the start and getting away and see if we can break them. But we know we've got that pace and we try and use it as best we can.
My starts haven't been the strongest of the last race, so I'm going to try and correct those this time and just try and keep Shane behind. I had a good quali yesterday. I only got 2 hot laps in. Unfortunately, we had a lot of double wave yellows, so only really got two sort of goes at it, but managed to piece it together. Pushed a little too hard in one of the sectors and went wide, so I know where I've got to improve on that one, and hopefully I piece all 3 sectors together and get my theoretical time, which should put me another sort of 7/10 ahead of where I was yesterday. So just going to push hard and go for it.
Well, the drivers are in the assembly area. The cars are prepped by the very professional teams that we have in the F3 Cup, and they'll be very shortly heading to the grid for the first of 2 races at Silverstone on the Grand Prix circuit. The highlight in the calendar, you could say, for the F3 Cup 2017. Let's look at the grid then. It's Wade Eastwood, the South African driver for CF Racing, that lines up on pole position, and Shane Kelly alongside. Row 2 of the grid is Robbie Watts and the championship leader Jacopo Sebastiani. Row 3 sees Tony Bishop line up alongside the reigning champion George Line. Darryl Jones, returning to the championship, is on row 4 with Stuart Wiltshire alongside. You can see just how hot the weather is. To the right of your screen is Wade Eastwood. We are right on board with Shane Kelly as the revs build, the lights come on, and Shane Kelly stalls from second on the grid. He now just needs to keep his fingers crossed that everybody swerves and avoids him. It's a great start from Wade Eastwood. He's going to lead, and Shane Kelly eventually gets going, but he's tumbled a long way down through the order at the wheel of the University of Wolverhampton racing machine. He's got some serious work to do, because Wade Eastwood is already threading his way through Beckett's for the first time. Jacopo Sebastiani in second place, and Shane Kelly already starting to pick off some of the runners towards the tail end of the field, diving his way around the outside of Beckett's on some, and is now going to have to try and press on onto the hanger straight for the first time. Wade Eastwood leads the race. The white and light blue car is Jacopo Sebastiani in second place. There's a spin there for Philip Jeans, so he's tumbled down towards the tail end of the order. But for the likes of Shane Kelly, he's got huge amounts of work to do, but he's got plenty of time, thankfully, in which to do it. Wade Eastwood turns the car through the Vale and up towards Club Corner for the first time. The tail end of the car just starting to break away there as he tries to build a bit more temperature into the slick tyres that all of these cars run, and problems for other cars ahead. Shane Kelly having to pick his way through traffic as cars trip over each other. That's another couple of places picked up wheel to wheel as they come through Club Corner past the wing building, but already up towards what is Village and the Loop comes our race leader. Shane Kelly still threading his way through the traffic. A busy first lap for him. The next of the cars is going to be Dave Gillette, that he's just managed to squeeze his way through and pass, so that's another place gained. He's going to be potentially up inside the top dozen by the end of this lap as Wade Eastwood threads his way through Luffield for the first time. That's Robbie Watts in third place. He's got Darryl Jones and the reigning champion George Line right behind him. There goes number 5. That's Stuart Wiltshire. We saw him on the podium earlier on in the season at Donington Park, but the front 2 have broken away rather. Wade Eastwood leads the race. Jacopo Sebastiani there in second place. Then it's the number 7 car of Robbie Watts in third place. He's got Darryl Jones returning to the championship for the first time this season, sitting right behind him in 4th position, and a big spin. That's Tony Bishop that's had a wild spin coming through Copse Corner, a full 360 spin. He dips the clutch, he keeps the engine going, and he will be able to continue, but a couple of places lost and maybe some flat spots on those tyres. That will not aid his cause. There goes number 8, that's James Heffernan. He sits in 6th position at the moment, one of the many cars that's prepared by Hewell Lloyd and his CF Racing team in this race. He's looking to try and close in on this little trio heading up towards what is Stowe Corner now. Robbie Watts, Darryl Jones, and that car there, which is the red and white car of the reigning champion George Line. It's been a difficult defence of his 2016 championship title. Robbie Watts flicks his way through the Vale, the man from Thundersley in Essex, looking to try and keep ahead of that car there. Darryl Jones returning to the championship, having finished 3rd in it last year, and really is blowing the cobwebs away beautifully well here at Silverstone on the Grand Prix circuit, where these F3 Cup cars could really stretch their legs. Turning their way past the wing building, we ride on board with Shane Kelly. Started on the front row of the grid, stalled. The car ahead looks as though it's Gino Ussi, and that would put Shane Kelly almost inside the top 10 now. He's running in 12th place at the moment through what is the braking area for Village. Is he able to squeeze up the inside? No, not quite. They get to the loop and he's not going to be able to do it there either, but surely Shane Kelly is going to pick off the number 23 car of Gino Ussi before too much longer. Gino's not exactly going to make it easy, but they head out of Aintree Corner onto the Wellington Straight. We ride on board with Shane Kelly, runner-up in the championship last year to George Line by just one single point. He's got himself on the right side of the circuit, which is the inside line for Brooklands Corner, and yet through he goes. So another place gain. That now puts him into 11th place. Here comes our race leader, Wade Eastwood, back over the start-finish line. He was late to start in the championship, Wade. He appeared for the first time when they were here at Silverstone on the club circuit, where he claimed all 3 victories, and at the moment, as the class of the field so far today, qualified on pole, is leading the race and pulling away from the squabbles that continue behind by the look of things. Here we see coming round through Beckett's Corner, Darryl Jones in 4th position, George Line in 5th place, and starting to close in now is James Heffernan in 6th place. So there goes the reigning champion, and you can see that the blue car of Robbie Watts is just that little bit further up the road now, so his 3rd position starting to solidify to a greater degree as they head in towards the sweeping corner at Stowe. Uphill on the way into the corner, you hit the apex and it just starts to drop away and start to descend downhill in towards the braking area for the Vale, and that is where Darryl Jones is looking to try and make up ground if he can on Robbie Watts, but for the moment, the man from Essex, Robbie Watts, is just pulling away a shade. James Heffernan now looks as though he has almost caught the champion from last year, George Line, so the largely blue and silver car with its day-glow flashes, James Heffernan, beginning to reel in the reigning champion as they go past the Grand Prix pits and sweep their way through what is the farm and up towards Abbey. And you can see that James Heffernan has now given himself half an opportunity here as they head on to the braking area. Can't quite work his magic there. He might have another go as they head up towards the loop, but he's just too far away. If he can get a good exit coming out of this corner, it's a very important one, the exit of the loop, because that gives you the momentum all the way down the Wellington Straight. As our race leader is turning his way through Brooklands, Jacopo Sebastiani still in 2nd place. Jacopo has been very consistent this year, hasn't had a win, but has finished in the top 4 in every single race so far, and that's what keeps him 13 points ahead of Shane Kelly in the championship coming into this weekend. And there is Shane Kelly still trying to thread his way up through the order following what was a very poor start, stalling the car on the grid, but since he got the car fired up for the 2nd time, he really has pressed on very, very well in this race and is now looking as though he might be able to gain another couple of places here. That is his next target, just flashing its way through shot now. That is Jonathan Hughes, which will be the next car that Shane Kelly is looking to try and work his way through and past. You can see some of the fights that are going on further down through the order. That's Dave Gillett, who is under pressure by the look of things. As they head out of Copse Corner, it looks as though it's Omar Gazaz that is looking to try and apply the pressure. The driver that has travelled all the way from Dubai to race with us this weekend for the first time in F3 Cup. He's sitting hot on the heels of the blue and yellow machine, but at the moment there's been no opportunity for him to squeeze his way by out of what is Chapel Curve and onto the Hangar Straight, and this could be the opportunity that the man from the Middle East is looking for here. Dave Gillett will be watching his mirrors. Omar Gazaz closing in the slipstream, but not closing quite enough as they head up towards the braking area for Stowe Corner. So through shot they go. Other fights further down through the order include still Shane Kelly, who's still looking to try and gain places, trying to squeeze his way through and pass, and just manages to get up the inside of Jonathan Hughes there. So that's car number 91, Jonathan Hughes, now dealt with. So that is now going to put Shane Kelly inside the top 10. So he has worked meticulously hard, having stalled. He dropped to what, something like 20th on the grid. Well, he's now picked off half the field, but there's still time to go. Can he pick off many, many more is the big question. The more places he gains, ever more difficult it becomes. George Line still being kept busy. He's still got James Heffernan's number 8 car right behind him as they continue to fight over what will be a 5th and 6th position. And here is our 2nd place car, Jacopo Sebastiani, who has fallen away from Wade Eastwood and dropped right into the clutches now of number 7, Robbie Watts. The man from Thundersley is now really starting to apply the pressure to the current championship leader. Here is our race leader, who's got almost the whole length of the national pit straight between himself and the London-based Italian. Robbie Watts there in 3rd position, closing in all of the time. And what can he do to catch? And of course, the most difficult part thereafter becomes getting past. It's not easy, but the slipstream and the wider circuit here at Silverstone may aid Robbie Watts' cause and give him opportunities at this track that don't necessarily exist at some of the tighter tracks at the F3 Cup visits, particularly the likes of Brands Hatch and Alton Park. So onto the Hangar Straight they'll go. still with Jacopo Sebastiani in second place. Ever closing is the dark blue car of Robbie Watts, but he's not close enough as yet to mount a challenge for second position. And of course, if these two then catch each other and start to squabble and hold each other up, don't rule out the fact that in fourth place, Darryl Jones might come into the mix as well. So safely through the braking area for Vale, up towards what is Club Corner, past the wing and the Grand Prix start line here at Silverstone. And further down through the order, more good fights going on by the look of things. This is Peter Venn, who's now managed to squeeze his way up the inside of Richard Purcell. Has he? No, not quite. Richard sticks his elbows out. Having none of that is he. So those two cars still fighting over what are 13th and 14th places at the moment. Doesn't matter where you look, there appears to be some good battles going on. Dave Gillett is still keeping Omar Gazaz, kind of a 77, at bay as they head out of Club Corner. Omar almost running wide there, beyond the curbs, and has actually lost a little bit of time by the look of things. He needs to watch his mirrors because he's got Richard Purcell and Peter Venn not that far away. They're having their own little fight. So here they come. And just after those two is then the next of the cars that we've got going through. That is going to be Malcolm Scott, I would suspect. Over the start-finish line, about to conclude another lap. Here comes our race leader, Wade Eastwood, still continuing to open up the advantage between himself and Jacopo Sebastiani. There's Robbie Watts still in the final podium place at this stage. His Volkswagen engine Dallara. Elsewhere down through the order, it looks like Peter Venn has gained the position. Yeah, he's managed to squeeze his way through and past Richard Purcell. Failed attempt earlier on. It has now worked. So that now moves him further up through the order. That will move him up into 13th position. Down to 14th goes Richard Purcell as the cars flash their way over the start-finish line. Dave Gillett heading through shot. Omar Gazaz has dropped a little bit further away now. There goes number 66, which is Malcolm Scott. Another one of the cars that runs in the Cup class. We've got Cup class and the Trophy class represented. The Cup class caters for those chassis built between 2005 and 2016 inclusively. The Trophy class, which we've only got one car, Adrian Holy, that caters for cars built between 1981 and the end of 2004. As Richard Purcell presses on out of Chapel Curb, back onto the Hangar Straight, and this five cars all looking fairly equidistantly spread. They're close to each other, but not really close enough so as to have a challenge as they head up towards Stowe Corner. Down in towards the braking area for the Vale, Peter Venn has sort of come alive in the second part of this race. His blue car with its white and black flashes is now hot on the heels of that car there, that being Omar Gazaz, making his debut in the F3 Cup this weekend. And the man from the Middle East is going to have to watch his mirrors here because Peter Venn is hugely keen to try and grab the place if he can. Elsewhere through the order, number 91, Jonathan Hughes, has now been caught by the recovering Tony Bishop, who really is decisive with the move, heading up towards the loop. The car that had the wild spin coming out of Copse Corner, place gained there for what is Tony Bishop. So he's another car a bit like Shane Kelly that, following problems earlier on in the race, is having to thread his way up through the order. Once more through Copse Corner goes Robbie Watts, still in pursuit of Jacopo Sebastiani. Runs a little bit wide there through Copse Corner, beyond the white lines that denote the edge of the circuit, so just needs to be careful that he doesn't transgress circuit limits too many more times, otherwise a warning or possibly a time penalty could be given. But at the moment he's driving well. Here's Tony Bishop, number 4, safely having got past number 91, Jonathan Hughes, and already starting to pull away now is Tony, who's been a long-time competitor in the F3 Cup. So he's heading in towards Maggots and Beckett's as down the Hangar Straight comes the reigning champion George Lyne under ever more pressure from James Heffernan. And look who's in the background. That is Shane Kelly in the background that really is now closing in. So Shane Kelly currently running in what is 7th position. Might get himself inside the top 6 here. That would not be a bad drive at all, having stalled on the front row of the grid. Here further down through the order, Richard Purcell squabbling away now with Malcolm Scott. So those two are having a great little fight. They are in the mid-teens at this stage as they propel themselves down the Hangar Straight. Richard Purcell taking a slightly defensive line up towards Stowe Corner, knowing that he's under pressure from the white and red number 66 car of Malcolm Scott sitting directly behind. Malcolm not close enough through the fairly fast right-hander at Stowe so as to gain a position. So he'll have to scratch his head and work out where else he might have an advantage to be able to gain a place. Time, however, is running out. We're now well past half distance and heading towards 3/4 distance, if not a bit more in this race. And a race which is still being led by Wade Eastwood, who's already won 3 races here at Silverstone. That was last time out when F3 Cup was here on the national circuit. Here's George Lyne, still with James Heffernan right behind him. Shane Kelly ever closing. Shane Kelly, well, considering he dropped to the bottom of the teens, he was something like 18th, 19th when he finally got the engine fired into life and got away. It really has been damage limitation from him. And you can see George Line, the number 1 car, then the number 8 car of James Heffernan, and ever closing is the white, light blue and day-glow yellow car in the hands of the runner-up from last year's championship, Shane Kelly. We've almost now got 3 fighting away, haven't we, fully for what is 5th, 6th and 7th places. And well, the number of opportunities for Shane Kelly to squeeze his way through past these drivers will be very few and far between, so he's got to get a good exit coming off Chapel Curve, see what he might be able to do as they head onto the Hangar Straight. We ride on board with a charging Shane Kelly, trying to get himself inside the top 6, and is he going to be able to do it this time up at Stowe Corner? Just shows the nose of the car to James Heffernan. James Heffernan will sweep across to take the apex and hangs on to 6th position. The charging Shane Kelly, for the moment, has to be content with 7th, but I'm sure towards the end of the race, he is certainly going to be pressurising James Heffernan as much as possible. And James Heffernan, I think, is already now starting to consider defence more than attack. He's dropping away from George Line as he's concentrating his efforts on hanging on to 6th position. Shane Kelly again just showing the nose of the car as they go past the wing up towards what is Abbey and then Farm, and then see whether he might be able to do something on the brakes as they head up towards the tight right-hander at Village before they then head in towards the even tighter left-hander at the loop. This is a critical corner for Shane Kelly. A good run coming off this corner. We saw him squeeze his way through and past Gino Ussi earlier on in the race with a good run coming off what was the loop. What can he do this time through? We'll find out very shortly, because there goes George Line. There is James Heffernan still hanging on to 6th position. He'd dearly like to hang on to it if he could. We have seen a win from James Heffernan. That was at Snetterton at round 4 of the championship. He also finished 3rd in the 2nd of the 2 races there, but he's had a difficult season with a few car problems, particularly at the first round at Donington Park. So a driver that is very quick, but has only had just the 2 podium visits so far this year. Well, he wants to hang on to a top 6 if he can, but Shane Kelly is going to do everything about taking that away from him. Shane won the first 3 races of the year at Donington Park and was leading the championship, but has slipped to 2nd in the championship behind Jacopo Sebastiani, who of course is currently running 2nd in this race. So he will be outscored by his main championship rival, Shane Kelly. And this might be the opportunity for Shane now to get himself in the slipstream of James Heffernan. He's close as they go underneath the vehicle bridge on the Hangar Straight. Is he close enough as they head up towards Stowe Corner? James Heffernan thinks about defence. Shane Kelly looks to try and squeeze his way up the inside, and it's going to go wheel to wheel through Stowe and grabs the position. So up to 6th goes Shane Kelly, down to 7th goes James Heffernan. So another place picked up for Shane Kelly, and that is more championship points for him as far as he's concerned. You get 18 points for finishing in 6th place. You only get 16 points if you finish in 7th place. So more damage limitation done. Now what can he do about catching the next car ahead, which is the reigning champion, George Line? Further down through the order, Richard Purcell is still squabbling away with the number 77 car of Omar Gazaz. They're now fighting away for 14th and 15th position. Omar's lost a little bit of time somewhere, so he's fallen behind Richard Purcell. So this is a fight for position. 14th and 15th places, with Malcolm Scott in 16th, not too far behind. And as they thread their way through Stowe Corner, the race leader Wade Eastwood is a long way up the road. Here he comes, just turning his way through what is Brooklands up towards Luffield Corner. Wade Eastwood secured 3 victories on the national circuit earlier on in the season in the F3 Cup, and he's turning his way through Woodcote Corner over the start-finish line with now very little time to go in the race. The South African driver leading as he heads onto the last lap of the race. Daylight between himself and the championship leader Jacopo Sebastiani, who is on for another good finish, potentially in 2nd position. There's dust, and by the look of things, somebody had an off. Malcolm Scott almost got caught out there. They went up towards Village Corner. Very sideways moment for him. And Shane Kelly has still not given up aspirations of gaining a further place. He's up to 6th. He's now right on the coattails of the man that secured the championship by a single point from Shane Kelly last year. And he would desperately like to try and gain another position. That would gain him another 2 championship points as well for Shane Kelly. He's also set the fastest lap in this race as well, such has been his charge up through the field. And as they now turn their way onto the Hangar Straight for the final time, opportunities and possibly ideas are running out for Shane Kelly. He has driven superbly well, other than the car stalling. Has a quick look up the inside of George Line again, maybe just to distract the champion as they head through Stowe Corner. Down into the Vale So it's really going to be only another 2 or 3 overtaking opportunities over the course of the lap, and I'm sure Shane Kelly will try and tee up a move at any single one of them should there be any mistake at all from George Lyne. He is poised and beautifully positioned, ready to pounce. So out of club, they then thread their way past the Grand Prix start finish line and into the fast sweeping right-hander before they then flick left and into the heavy braking area at Village Corner. This is an opportunity. George Lyne is trying to defend. Shane Kelly throws one up the inside. Is he going to be able to squeeze his way through? He is. He's through. George Lyne is braving it out as they head up towards the loop. They're wheel to wheel through 2 corners, and as they come out of the loop and up towards Aintree Corner, Shane Kelly has got his nose ahead of George Lyne, and they are going to be fighting for position. And George Lyne has gone back through by the look of things on the Wellington Straight. Great stuff from the 2 drivers that were first and second in the championship last year, but the checkered flag and his 4th win of the year goes the way of a delighted Wade Eastwood. Jacopo Sebastiani in 2nd place. It'll be Robbie Watts in 3rd. It's going to be Darryl Jones in 4th, and this is a battle for 5th and 6th place. George Lyne just finishes in 5th place with Shane Kelly in 6th position on what was a fraught race, the first race of the weekend here for the F3 Cup at Silverstone, with battles all the way down through the order. But it's that man there, car number 15, Wade Eastwood, that claims his 4th victory of the season. 2nd goes the way of Jacopo Sebastiani, with Robbie Watts in 3rd, Darryl Jones in 4th, George Lyne in 5th, and the charging Shane Kelly in 6th place ahead of James Heffernan, Stuart Wiltshire, Tony Bishop and Jonathan Hughes, who completed the top 10. A fantastic first race here for F3 Cup at Silverstone. Some very happy drivers standing on the podium. Let's chat to the winners.
Tried to set a few fast laps initially, saw Jaco behind me, and know he never gives up. So try to get a little bit of a gap to him, and then just really keep it in the low 58s and just maintain the gap and save the tyres for the next race a little bit. But car was amazing, balance. The team did a fantastic job, CF Racing, and car just felt great.
We had a very bad Saturday because Pirelli just decided to change the tyres on us, and it messed up our car. But got it better yesterday evening after the qualifying, and this morning it's almost there. So I'll try again this afternoon. Who knows? But he's the fastest man today.
Yeah, I just sort of settled for 3rd in the end. I was catching Jacopo a couple of laps, and he got away from me again. I made a couple of mistakes, but yeah, he's on about the tyres. I can't feel any difference. There might be. He's probably got a better feeling than I have. But I haven't noticed anything yet. But yeah, I mean, we more or less done the same times we did on Friday, so there's probably a little bit of difference there somewhere, but I can't feel it. He's better than me, so. But yeah, we'll look forward to the next race. I think we start the same sort of grid as in the next one, so let's hope so. We have the same result.
Well, that's all from the first F3 Cup race here at Silverstone. Join us for race 2.